Welcome to the session today. We are going to talk about IT project management lifecycle. So let's jump into the session. There are 5 phases of the IT project management. They are conception and initialization, definition and planning, execution, monitoring and control, and project closing. Let's look at each of them in detail. The first phase is where the initialization was first defined clearly. The project definition is the first clearly defined the project purpose, objective, scope, and constraint. And then the stakeholder identification. Identify the key stakeholders for the project, including the project managers, sponsors, users, and the project team. And the feasibility analysis, ensure that the project feasibility in terms of considering technical, financial, and operational factors. And the last is the project charter. The develop a project charter which formally authorizes the project is get an approval for the project. And then there's the next phase is the planning or definition phase, where the scope definition makes sure that the scope is clearly identified and the requirements gathering is done completely with all the document and system requirement, both this are documented, and then break down the work into smaller chunks to make sure we are a manageable task to make in an agile form. And then scheduling, create a project schedule for the task dependencies and milestone. And then there's a resource allocation, identify the resource needed to be execute the project, and with the team and team members' roles and responsibility. And the risk analysis, make sure we have identified any risk and also potential mitigation. Identify the budgets required for execution of the project, and also the quality planning, make sure we have a quality plan identified for what we need to be achieved as part of the quality. And then we have the execution or launch phase, where we have the team, their role and responsibility are carried out during this phase. And then also the task is execution, make sure that all the team members and they carried out their tasks. And then quality assurance, ensure that we are progressing with the quality what we were expected to get, and ensure that the communication is regularly update the stakeholder on the project progress. Monitoring and controlling the space, ensure that you continuously look at the status of the performance, scope, and schedule and cost to ensure that they are on track for the delivery. And the issue resolution, ensure that any issue identified this space is resolved and mitigated. And then move to the other phase of monitoring and control, mainly where we are making sure that the performance monitoring ensure continuously track the project performance against what we definition. And the change management, any changes or scope change or any other change, resource change is managed and close. And the quality control, ensure that the control of output meet quality standard. And the risk management, ensure any risk materialized is mitigated and on track with our project. Cost control, ensure we have within the budget of what we plan. And schedule control, ensure the project stays on schedule. The communication, ensure all the stakeholders to communicate the progress of and also the status of the project. And reporting, ensure proper report for the project is created and shared with the stakeholders. The last stage is for the project closing, where make sure that all the verification and validation is done and also meet the requirement what we originally planned. And accepting the client, make sure that the client is accepted with the what is they deliver based on the project definition. Documentation, to ensure all the necessary documentation for the project is completed. And lesson, make sure that we have a retrospective of the project to ensure we have any identified lesson learned from that is applicable as carried with a capture for future project. And then hand over, make sure that we hand over the project if it is required to hand over to an operation team, and then celebration and evaluation to make sure that the project completion and evaluate the project is overall success. Thanks for attending the session. Hope this helped you understand the typical IT project management life cycle.